welcome back to another episode of I'm Really Into That Stuff. This is the podcast that features me, Jana Stern, energy healer and psychic, as I delve into conversations with different folks in the holistic and conscious industries about the many beliefs and practices of spirituality, mental health, and what it means to be a human who's into that stuff in 2021 and beyond. So, welcome everybody to season 2, episode 2 of I'm Really Into That Stuff. This is a podcast all about all of that witchy woo-woo bullshit that everybody loves to be like, oh, I'm into that stuff. And I am joined by my beautiful friend Lisa Manton Art on Twitter. She is the co-founder of Mystic Sisterhood and an incredibly talented artist living in Ireland, from Ireland. I guess you're living there because you're from there. And just an all-around spiritual badass. So I'm very excited to have you here. Hi.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited too. And it's really nice to see somebody's face when you're doing, on Twitter, I can never gauge, like if I make a joke, I'm like, is it funny?
It's funny every time. I'm laughing every time you're making a joke. That's right. Mm-hmm. It's funny every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's nice to see a face. So I'll be watching your face if I make any jokes.
So you are
laughing. Yeah.
I will be laughing the whole time and everybody will be enjoying our giggles as they should because we are hilarious.
Indeed.
So I wanted to kind of get into a whole bunch of stuff with you, but first and foremost, I really wanted to chat about the fact that you own a project called Mystic Sisterhood. We kind of met in this like incredibly synchronistic way where I think we've talked about this, but I'll get into it a little bit deeper for the sake of the podcast because not everybody knows the story. Basically, I was part of a women's sisterhood circle for many, many years, 6 or 7 years. And we gathered every week and did meditations and sat together in kind of this virtual collective where we would meditate and pull oracle cards and connect in all of these really, really powerful ways. And that circle completed, as in we closed it up and decided that it was far too complicated given the way that the world was. And we were all dispersed in different ways. And it just became a little bit too complicated. And literally in the morning, I had a call that completed that circle. And then in the afternoon, Chelsea held a space where you guys were minting for the first time. You were minting your Mystic Sisterhood NFTs. And it was like, I remember getting off that space, speaking up in the space, introducing myself, being like, hi, I'm this, I'm whatever I am. And you guys were like, we're so happy to have you. And I remember getting off the phone, off that Twitter space and crying and being like, it in like a good way. Good,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh God,
everyone.
These people are terrible. No, just being so moved that the synchronicity, like it didn't even miss a beat, not even a whole day went by without a space that I knew that I had a profound sisterhood to kind of lean on, as somebody who didn't have sisters. You and I have this in common, right? We both have 4 brothers.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah. So we know the plight of being the only girl.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it was so synchronistic. And so we've never really gotten into it, but like, how did you guys come to create something that was based so deeply in spirituality and mysticism?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that feels like 10 years ago now, doesn't it?
Wasn't it 10 years ago?
Yeah, I believe it was 2000. Oh, actually, I can't count back 10 years because everything starts from 1990. And so, yeah.
Which was also 10 years ago.
Which was also 10 years ago. If anyone didn't know, you're welcome for us young people here.
Brought to you by your neighborhood millennials.
Yeah. Excuse you. No, JK. I remember that call though, because we were minting and we were like, at that moment on a call with like our team and our devs, making sure everything was going well. And just like, there was so many heightened emotions. There was like, I remember that morning because you're so busy, you're on Twitter spaces, you're not sleeping. And then like about 10 seconds before we went live, I was like, oh, Jesus, this is actually happening. And it was only at that moment that I realized like this was actually happening. And I was like, geez. And then Chels had launched she was dropping some more of her amazing NFTs. You know, she puts the little motion in them. I have one of them. They're
Yeah.
wonderful. And so she was having a space for that. And then she was like, pop over and say hi. And I left the team call and popped in, and you were there. And you were like, hello, be my friend. And I was like, hello, be my friend. And we haven't left each other since.
Literally on every platform, constantly,
yeah.
all day, every day.
Yeah, when you know, when you're on several apps of people, which is pretty much the same thing that happened with me and Bex, to be honest. Like we did one call together.
Bex, your co-founder of Mystic Sisterhood.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I just assume everyone knows, but yes, Bex is our
globally.
amazing...
They all know. All of our listeners worldwide. Go on.
You should know. If you don't know, you should know. She is our wonderful co-founder and our in-house resident tarot reader as well. Is fantastic. If you've ever checked out our weekend forecast, that's Bex that does those every single Friday. She's incredible. Yeah, I guess the idea for the whole sisterhood spirituality thing, it's an accumulation of a couple of things. For me, on a personal level, it started out, just this idea of a sisterhood because we don't have sisters.
Yes.
And I was in Toronto at the time, and I was going through a really reflective period through my art, through my spirituality. And it was all the women in my life that kept me going through spirituality. And it wasn't even heavy spirituality. It was like, Lisa, I sent you a crystal in the post. You'll probably get it in 5 weeks. Things like that. Or I'm going to pull an oracle card, angel card pull for you. Or, just things even prayer or lighting candles. And it was just this I just loved the idea of a sisterhood, even though Mystic Sisterhood isn't just for women, it's for everyone, whoever, feels aligned to join in on the spirituality and the fun and the coziness. Yeah, It was just kind of, it's something that, and one thing that on our first call, me and Bex agreed upon was that she was into tarot, I was into my angel cards and many, many other things. But we were it's so important for us to get the message across that there's no right or wrong for anyone. Obviously, don't do wrong things. Don't be a dick. But there's no,
as a religion, as a spiritual practice, don't be a dick.
Don't be just don't be that. Don't use your candles and set something on detrimental fire. But yeah, I'm going to change our slogan to minting now. Don't be a dick. But yeah, it was just, that was the driving force, was this is a place for people who love spirituality and art and the balance of all those things. But it's a place where you can come and be like, hey, I like this candle, and someone else can be like, that's cool, I like this tarot deck, and it doesn't matter. And you can have these communal conversations where you can just feel like you're at home. Because I found when I was sending voice notes, mini podcasts to my friends, to the gals back home, that's what it was. It was I would be reading up on a moon cycle or something, and then my other friends would be like, I don't know anything about that, can you tell me some more? And I'm like, well, I'm still just Googling stuff, but what do you know? It's about this shared energy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're talking about a literal rock that you found on the street. It's shared energy, and that's the thing that really kind of spoke to us. And then when it came to, I won't go too shilly with it, but when it came to doing, the traits and the art and stuff, took us the longest, because we really wanted to represent as much as we could, and everything is researched heavily. Even the amethyst geode, I'm like, are these the correct crevices and layers, or the Himalayan salt? And I'm like, can we use this image? Everything is down to a T, and we couldn't represent everything, but that's where there's room for more along the way.
Yeah. And I love that. Everything is energy, right? So you probably want to learn more about your energetic body. I've written a book about the chakra system that explains each of the 7 major chakras, how they work, how to know if they're out of balance, and how to activate and align yourself so that you can bring yourself into a state of well-being in body and in spirit. Want to get your copy? Go to solo.to/Jana Stern and click Buy My Book today. Are you a crazy crystal lover like me? I have a digital collection of crystals that give you a channeled message and a lifetime discount on all services with me. Choose from over 50 of some of my favorite crystal magic punks by heading over to solo.to/Jana Stern and clicking Crystal Magic Punks on Polygon. Have you been asking the universe what you're meant to do in this lifetime? Our birth chart is the map that shows us the path to ourselves and helps us to live in alignment with our purpose. If you want access to a natal chart reading with me at a crazy discount, visit solo.to/Jana Stern and click on the Higher Being on Ethereum to purchase. The idea that there is no right way, no wrong way to practice connection with source never ceases to move me because, I was raised in a religion, right? I was raised Jewish and always for many years thought that spirituality and religion were the same. And it wasn't until I began to understand how separate they could be that I started to feel like it was okay to practice differently than just this sort of like linear, literally by the book way. Yeah. And so, it really appealed to me to see all that what you guys are creating. And I love the idea that there is no right way to practice spirituality, mysticism, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah. I just think it's like whatever you believe in. And that's where spirituality kind of took its, I was going to say took its toll. That's not the right thing to say. It's where it kind of, evolved for me because I grew up in a Catholic household.
Right.
And, cue Catholic guilt and all that. But the one thing I knew, kind of similar to yourself, what you're saying, I didn't think religion was for me, but what I did like about it was the faith that everyone had in something. Like I would watch like my mother like pray and go to mass and I obviously went there too because we live across the road from a church and there's only so many excuses you can get out of going. But yeah, my dad wasn't, and all of my aunts and uncles on either side, it was just a given thing and like culturally and things, but
sure,
it was never really like, we didn't have a household where it was like, we talked about like sin and wrong and wrongdoings. It was more like, oh, I'm just going to go and have a pray. I'm going to go and light the candle for, I loved the idea of like, you would go into any of my family relatives' houses and there would be candle lighting and they'd say, oh, I'm lighting that for John down the road because he's sick. I just loved that idea of like thinking of other people and putting your thought into something. So that's what I think I took away from that area of my life. And then I just maneuvered it into something that suited me. And I think that's what it is about spirituality that's so special, right? It's about finding what works for you, and what might work for you might not work for me. And that doesn't matter. It's like whatever you want to do, basically.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, within certain parameters, I agree. I think if you're like, there's definitely darkness to spirituality in some cases.
What? No, I'm joking.
Get out of here, you liar. But, I feel like for me, I agree with you. And I love what you said about, spirituality as being in service to others. I so deeply identify with that. I think that I said it the other day, I guess on the space, we do our Monday mindful moment, or mega mindful moment, whatever the M alliteration that I invented is that I can never remember. That, I said, if you're not in service to others as a light worker, you really can feel like you're not doing what you're here to do. And that to me is, shows up as lighting candles. It shows up as, being in some kind of service to others, whatever that might look like. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And I think it's important with spirituality as well to know that like I think you never get to a final destination with it. You're continuously learning, right?
Yes.
I think sometimes it can come across like a little bit intimidating because, when I first started like researching and learning about the moon cycles, I was like, I don't know this thing and I don't know this thing. And then I just realized that it doesn't matter. Just, take in what you can and then it'll all go from there. And I think that's why spirituality and art are very close to my heart because I think of art in the same way, where there's no right or wrong. Obviously, unless you're
Definitely.
doing something, you know, please don't hurt people with your art.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. Welcome to episode 4 of Don't Be a Dick. I mean, that would work. I would listen to that.
It's a side gig for us.
Yeah.
With all of our spare time that we have.
Yeah, loads of it. Yeah, I think that's the draw for the two of those, and the balance of the two of those. It's like, you know, I just think you can't look at someone's piece of artwork and say, you did that wrong. You can have an opinion of it. Of course, you can say like, I think this is wrong because, or if somebody says to you, can I have your feedback on do you think this lighting is correct? But if someone doesn't ask for your feedback, maybe don't give it to them, because maybe they don't need it. Maybe they love that the lighting is wrong, you know? So it's just like, I don't know, things like that.
I agree with you. I think that is a good general life advice. It's something that I'm constantly aspiring to. If people don't ask for it, don't give them the feedback. It's very hard for me to not say the things, but I love that you've brought art into the conversation, because I think that when we talk about God as creator, to me, that makes everybody God, right? We all have this creative energy within us. And so there is something incredibly godlike when you're creating something. And I'm curious how that shows up for you when you're in a creative space, because you create such beautiful work. It's really unbelievable what you can do with a pen or a digital pen. It really is. So I'm curious, you know, how God shows up in that for you.
I think it's a big question, and it's something I think that I would change my answer probably on it every time you ask me, you know. It's like, there's no definitive answer, but I think it's like, for me, it's a spiritual process, and it doesn't matter what I'm creating. It's like the meditative state that I go into when I just start drawing. I could be like the most anxious I've ever been, and then once I start drawing, I'm just like releasing things and just giving myself to whatever I'm creating. And I think, yeah, when you say in what way does it show up, do you mean like the output or the process, or all of it, all the above?
Both.
I'd probably stick with what I said. It's like a reflective time. And I genuinely think I was meant to be an artist from an early age. I've been drawing, like, literally I had a folder, you know, like a binder, and in primary school, and I had a catalog of clothes. I don't know, do you have those in Canada? You know, the clothing catalogs that you could like send away for.
Yeah.
Mom would
Like Victoria's Secret, but clothing. Yeah.
But jumpers and
sure. Yes, we definitely had that. We had the Sears catalog. That's what we had in Canada. Sears catalog. Yeah.
Yes, ours was called, like, anyway, I basically made up one of those and I brought it into school, and I still meet people from school today, and they're like, I remember coming to you with drawings to see if I could get into your catalog.
She's a curator from birth, this one over here.
I'm like, I'm not sure if this is fall season material. No, I was obviously, you know me by now, and as a severely empathetic, you know, high functioning, anxiety driven person, everyone was allowed into the catalog, of course. Of course, like, can't say no. But yeah, I just think it was always there. It was always there for me in a really healing way. My brother, Walter, is, I don't think he draws anymore, but I used to watch him draw and be like, oh my God, I want to be, you know, when you have older brothers, you're like, I want to be like you.
Yep.
Like, my other brothers are mechanics, and for a while I was like, I'm going to be a mechanic too. And they're like, no, you're not. Yeah, I reckon I could still do it. But anyway,
you could do it. You can do anything. Yes.
I can't even change a tire, but it doesn't matter because I have my brother's own garage, so I don't need to.
Right.
And yeah, I just think it was always there. And I mean, in trauma, and now we've entered the trauma section of the podcast. Yay!
Bring it on, baby.
Enter humor. But yeah, you know, when someone says, why are you funny? And it's like, because trauma. Yeah, so obviously, you know, I have had a lot of loss, unfortunately, in my life. Like, my mom passed away from cancer when I was 10. So at 10 years old, that's huge. I'm only realizing that now, though, from, you know, talking to people, and they're like, that's a big deal. And I'm like, oh, didn't realize it, because I don't know if it's an Irish thing or maybe my family thing, but you don't really talk about it that much. But thankfully things are improving in the world in general, and it's great. And then fast forward to the age of 16 and my dad passed away. So at this point I'd lost those two people in my life, and things were just they're a bit shit. But the one thing that was always constant was art. That's why I feel so strongly about art and spirituality. And when you have these conversations with people, like, I'm a big believer in signs, and I've been to see clairvoyance and mediums and things, and people sometimes say, you get into this debate of like, oh, do you believe in that, or do you think it's real? And my answer is literally always like, I have to believe in it, because if I don't know where my mind will take me. I'm like, I have such a strong connection to it. It's been the only thing that's kept me going all these years, is like the belief that, the thing I saw, or the sign that I received, or the message, kind of things like that. I have to like heavily believe in that, because it just helps me get through.
And how does that show up for you in your creation, in your art? Those signs and things.
Yeah, I think they show up, in the female form. I think the influence comes through from my mom. And it's really, really hard to explain. But I know that when I'm having a hard time with a piece or an art project, I just can feel the kind of driving force being like, go on, you can do it. Just, you're fine, you can do it. And I know we've had conversations before about it, but I can really, I think I just enter into this mind frame where I'm more connected with, I don't want to say, spirit, but also I don't do it to connect with spirit. It's just like everything slows down for me. My brain slows down, and then I'm drawing one thing, and then a memory will pop up, because I have a lot of black spots because of like the trauma and stuff that I don't can remember like at all. And other people will tell me things, and I'm like, no idea. Didn't know I did that.
Right.
But apparently I did.
Right.
So it just kind of shows up in those areas when you can slow down your mind. And I think that's like the link between art and spirituality for me personally. And also, as you know, I lost a family member while I was in Toronto.
Yes.
My niece Katie, and it was the saddest time because I couldn't get home because of the pandemic. So I was stuck in Toronto, just me and my partner Andy. I was in a basement apartment. It was in the April, and that's when Andy actually bought me the iPad, because he was like, you need something to, because he knows that like creativity, art is where I am at peace and things like that. So then I had the iPad, and I just like used it to focus, like, whatever grief I was going through into, not immediately, because I'm not, it's not like I'm like, oh, power on, everything perfect. I'm not, pitching Procreate for therapy or anything. I'm just trying
although if they're willing to pay you, you could pitch them as therapy.
Hey, if they want to pay me good money, I will absolutely, if I believed it, if I could really put my word behind it, I would. But I think it shows up for me in spirituality and art and symbolism. Like Katie's color, as you know, is the color purple, so I put hints of purple places, or we remember her with like butterflies, and like I often see butterflies, or I might draw them, things like that. But I like to do it in a way where I don't say it. I'll just put it in there for me, and if other people like it and resonate with it for their own reasons, I love that. But I try not to be like, I am drawing this because of this. It's more, so that's, I think, part of the answer is like, it shows up in ways that sometimes I'm not aware of, but it still comes out.
Yeah, I think that's like the beauty of creation, is that, like everything in nature and in art, what flows through quite naturally. And then afterwards, there's a story there that you're like, oh, wow, that must be because of this. That must be, a connection of this thing. And the longer you spend with it, the more parts of yourself you uncover within it, right?
Yeah, it's true. I just think if you can find a way to combine the two, that it's spirituality and art in any way, shape, or form, then it's just like leveling it up in another way that it doesn't have to be every piece you create either. You know, sometimes you just want to draw a flower, you draw a flower.
Sure.
But then you realize 2 weeks down the line, you drew that because of some other thought that was there. So
yeah, you were looking to bloom something within yourself, or you needed something to die away, or you needed something to just be beautiful, you know?
exactly.
When I was in treatment, I did a number of different classes and sort of workshops that were like, you know, creative workshops. There was this place in Toronto called Sheena's Place, and you would go and be with groups of people who were also going through eating disorders or other mental health disorders. And they had all of these like really interesting creative expression classes, you know, writing and scrapbooking and things like that. And it was like, you know, that same idea of, you know, when you're using that creative life force energy, when you're creating something, especially as a woman, you know, I mean, men too, we all have a creative energy, but especially as a woman, we have this capacity to make life. We don't live in a society where we are constantly making babies, where, you know, once upon a time we would like get old enough to bear children, and then we would until we couldn't anymore, and then that would be it. And because we don't live that life, creativity differently expresses itself through us, you know. And that creative life force, that ability to make something from nothing, which is what we do as women, you know, with babies. There is something really profound about that. And, you know, it's also like, you know, creativity and artistry, whenever I'm drawing or whenever I'm in a space of painting is a big one for me. I can't remember a time that I didn't hold a paintbrush. Like I love to be in a canvas, and the more detailed I can get, the better. And I really love that expression of art. There is, for me as well, you know, God is there everywhere. And I love that your mom especially shows up for you in those moments. It's so special.
Yeah, it's weird as well. I don't know. I had an aunt that said to me one time, I was doing this collection, this hand-drawn collection. It was my first solo exhibition. They were called Ladies Who Lunch, and it was like 1960s, 1970s vibe, just these, you know, drawn women. And I had an aunt that came up to me after the exhibition, and she was like, "Oh, I just think it's so lovely that you took inspiration from your mother." And I was like, "No." Excuse me, like no, like on the defense straight away, like no emotions, how dare you? But then yeah, upon reflection I was like, oh yeah, it is, because like she was always really stylish, or you know, some of the drawings even kind of slightly looked like her, and it was strange for me, because I was like, oh. And then during the pandemic, and in that time where, you know, I was stuck over and couldn't come home, and but I had some really wonderful conversations with my brothers during that time, especially when Katie had passed, because, and I do think sometimes things happen in a certain way, you know, for a reason, because if I had come home, I wouldn't have had these conversations, or I wouldn't have said like, love you. Like they recoil, they're like, excuse me, how dare you? And now I do it to annoy them, because it's amazing to see them
Yes,
being like,
because that is
shut
your
up.
duty. That is your
Yeah.
duty, ma'am.
Yeah, but I know they love it as well. I know they're like, stop, but you know, very convincingly don't love it. But yeah, so the phone conversations were some of the, you know, the nicest ones I've had with them. The distance really brought us together in some ways. And you know, just like, you know, even spirit, in a spiritual way, it was like we would be texting each other being like, I just saw a butterfly today, that's Katie now, she's letting us know she's around. You know, things like that. Or like, there was just so many things that happened around that time. I remember on the day of her funeral, even me and Andy went for a walk, and I think I told this story in a space before, but we had walked down this area before, but never had taken like a left turn. And on that day, I was like, okay, let's just go down this way. And we passed this wall, and there was just one purple brick in the wall, like one. I have a photo of it, like just one purple brick on its own. And like, yeah. And even Andy was like, that's weird, isn't it? I was like, yeah, that's weird. And I genuinely think only for, you know, having spirituality in my life at that time, I just would have been in a way worse place, because I used to walk down to the waterfront every day and bring a crystal. I picked out a crystal that was like just for her, and I brought it down every day. And when I was leaving Toronto, I left it there in a
Beautiful.
specific place. Yeah, in the butterfly garden at I think it's called the waterfront. I can't remember the area, but yeah, it was a really, really heavy time, and it still is. But I have to say, believing in the signs and believing in the little things was really, really incredible. And it's like, for some, I know it's really hard, because I know for other family members, maybe they don't believe in those things, and it's really difficult. But I feel like as well, you can't like force it on people, or you kind of get the vibe of like, are they ready to talk about it in this way, or do they want to talk about it in another way? And you kind of, like sometimes I'll ring one of my brothers and be like, are you okay? And they're like, why? I'm like, no, no reason. I just had a feeling. And then, at a later date, they're like, how did you know I wasn't having a good day? I'm like, I genuinely don't know. But I just but I don't know. And I don't claim to be I'm not like saying like, oh, I have this or that. I just know
We all do. We all have this and that. We all have it though, right? We all have that gift. We all have that intuitive nudge within us, and it really is a listening, and I often say about people who've lost loved ones, I think having lost your mom at such a young age, there's a survival mode that you go into, and then losing your dad not long thereafter, that survival mode just kind of goes into hyperdrive. But losing Katie, I feel like there's a new opportunity of listening. We've talked about this. There's a new opportunity of listening to those little nudges, those little whispers of something, because she was little, right? She was not little, but she was young. And, and the signs can come through much clearer with children, both on this side and on the other side, who are still here in the physical and very much alive. They can see things and hear things that we don't see and hear. And kids on the other side, tend to come through a lot clearer too. So it's beautiful that that's transformed your listening skills. Has it changed your artistry at all, her passing?
I probably won't know that for a few years. Because it's only when I look back, like recently I was able to collect some stuff from my brothers that I put into storage, and I was looking back through my old like college work and things like that, and it was it was dark. It was dark. The dark arts. Dark. I really struggled to say the word art and not sound like a pirate. Art. It's really hard for me. Art. If anyone's listening, I'm saying the word
ART.
Yeah, thank you. Genuinely, I just get so, it's the one.
The brogue.
Art. You say it.
Art.
Oh, there you go. Art. No, I'll just stick to myself. Anyway,
you be you, I'll be me.
Imagine if I was in Harry Potter. Welcome to the dark arts.
Nobody would take it seriously. I'll just slither and be like, no, forget it. She doesn't mean business.
Okay,
sure, lady. Amazing.
Yeah, if you're listening, yes, I have used humor to deflect from a serious question, but that's just who I am. Okay, that's just my personality and my coping mechanism. But yeah, I look back upon the art from that time, and I was doing like, really dark stuff like horror and paranormal, and but I was just really hyper focused on. I still am. I still love like reading stories about like spiritual, encounters and clairvoyancy and paranormal things. I just, during the day when it's bright, and then at nighttime I'm like, why can't I sleep? And yeah, so yeah, and that's when I remember that was a really dark time for me personally. I just didn't realize. So I think I won't know if she's coming through in my art unless I look back upon it, because I feel like when you're so close to it, it's really hard to see. It's the same, I think, with even when you're doing like journaling, which is something I absolutely live by. I journal every single day if I can.
Yep.
And I have a pact with my best friend that if anything happens to me, she is to burn them, because some of those pages are pretty angry.
Yeah.
And we have to get it out at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the same with journaling. I think if I look back in a journal from God, middle of the pandemic, which we all would, we'd look back and be like, oh God, like that was a dark time.
Yeah.
But at the time, you don't, you know, you're just saying words. Sometimes you just don't know, but it's the process of it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like just getting it out there, whether it's, I don't know, whether it's art or talking to a friend or creativity, spirituality. Sometimes you just need to say it out loud. And
Yes.
then it's like, whew, thank God. And try not to overthink it afterwards, because
Yeah.
some of us do that.
So,
Not me.
certainly not. Absolutely not. I would never be you. It could not possibly be you. No, I agree with you. I think for me, I learned a long, long time ago that if I keep it in, it's going to manifest as coming out in one way or another. And so I've now defaulted to, if I see something that has room for improvement, I'm going to go there first and I'm going to get it out of the way, because then everything else can just sort of shine in the light, because I've sort of put my flashlight in the corner, so to speak. I don't know if it works, but maybe it does.
I think you just keep trying it until it does, and if it doesn't, just switch and try something else. I mean, and that's the same with spirituality, right?
Totally.
Like if you're doing like a full moon ritual and you're doing it like for 6 months and you're like, this isn't doing anything for me, then that's okay. Just do something else.
Yep.
Like fully do something else. And that's why when we talk about those things, like, you know, using language like, if this, you know, if you feel aligned with this ritual suggestion, then you do it. Or if you feel called to,
if this resonates,
if this resonates, yeah, thank you. Yeah, if it resonates, then do it. Like, you know, just don't put that pressure on yourself to be like, yeah, I need to be in the mind frame now tonight because it's full moon and I need to be ready to let go. Because sometimes you're just fucking not ready to let go. It's like someone thinks you want to talk about it and you're like, absolutely not. Like, no, don't even look at me. Don't even look in my general direction right now. And that's okay, you know, that's okay.
I love what you're saying about that, because there have been a lot of times. I mean, the thing about spiritual rigidity is that it's the backwards opposite of what I believe spirituality could be, because I think by nature, you know, everything is constantly in movement. It's constantly in flow. There are polarities to our reality based solely on the fact that we live on a magnetic planet that stays in polarities. So there's always going to be sort of a seeking of balance. And if you're like, well, it's the new moon and so we must, that doesn't always work. But what does always work is, as soon as you hear that little whisper, follow it. You know, it's like, for me, I'm like, oh, the cards, I can hear my cards. I gotta do it now. Now is the time. It's not tomorrow. It's not later. It's now. And then same with learning to trust those intuitive nudges. Sometimes you're not ready, but sometimes you're like actively resisting because you don't want to let go, because you're in a comfort zone of sorts, which it's definitely not me who gets into comfort zones.
No, nor me. Couldn't be me.
Nope. Could not be me either. I don't even have a comfort zone. Please let me into your comfy fort of Mystic Sisterhood so I don't have to do anything.
Get in here. It's comfortable, and some of us have anxiety.
That's the new tagline. It's comfortable and some of us have anxiety. Please, minting now.
And that's okay. Minting now.
Right. That's
right. PS, minting now.
That's
but
right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think we all have anxiety in some way, shape or form, but
definitely.
Yeah, I just think even being able to be we're very lucky that we can have these conversations with each other and whoever's listening, and even like, it's not all down to like us or, you know, Mystic Sisterhood or Jana Stern or whoever is doing these projects. It's like anybody can do it. You know, there's no gatekeeping of information or like, oh no, they're doing it so we can't. No, just more people do it. More. Like, let's like let it multiply, so that, you know, I really strongly feel like the minute you start telling people that's the wrong way, or, you know, gatekeeping information, the same as with art, I feel like then you're stopping the flow of energy. Like, that's the one thing that was different for me about Web3 as an artist, was like people were so willing to like share and be like, oh, I did this way. Whereas like I'd come from you know, an Instagram or a fine art world where it's like, you know, oh, you don't know the person, then sorry, I can't help you out. And you're like, right, okay, sorry, for existing. And then, but I just feel like it's never good karma to gatekeep, because the person that you try and keep the information from, I feel like, say even from, okay, spiritual or an artistic point of view, if you're like, I'm not going to tell that person how to do this drawing technique, because what if they get better? You can be guaranteed they're going to get better.
Oh,
And they're going to come back and they're going to be better than you, because I believe in karma and things like that. So I feel like you should just fucking help people.
yes.
So that it comes back to you sevenfold.
And I think it's interesting from a spiritual perspective. I think that I'm of two minds. One is that, you know, we definitely need to not gatekeep, but also at the same, there's a mosquito around my head. At the same time, I think that there are definitely closed practices that need protecting because there is still appropriation. However, when those doors are opened, it's very important that you let people be as fully expressed in their understanding of it as possible. Because if so, for example, I'm thinking about my own closed practice of Judaism and how sometimes, you know, if you wish to convert, there's a big, long process. And there's a lot of, we were just talking about this earlier today, Moshe and I, there's a process and you have to go through a number of steps. But what I know is that sometimes people who convert become far more religious and rigid, not rigid, I don't want to say that, but more by the book. And you know, that doesn't make them better or worse, but also in spiritual teachings. I mean, I know people and have experienced learning from somebody and feeling like my evolution has moved beyond what they can give me. And you have to let that happen. If you're a good teacher, your student will excel beyond what you can do. So I think in a spiritual practice and also in an artistic practice, it's so important to let people thrive, because we really live in a world where people are told like, don't be too good, don't be too boastful, don't be too whatever, right? And like, fuck that noise.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Or even like, I feel like even if you're a bit weird, like I consider myself a bit weird. I'm
a hell of a lot weird. I'm a little
bit weird. Plot twist. I'm really fucking weird.
You're cute as fuck though, so it's fine. You know?
Oh, you.
I'm sure you meant thank you. You're so welcome.
I'm struggling with the compliment.
Please go on.
Why would you do that to me? You know, we come from a world where people are like, you know, don't, yeah, like you said, like, don't be too, you know, don't be too amazing now, because people will think you're great, you know, and it's like, maybe can I just be a little bit, can I just be the best I can be? Like, it's like, it's immeasurable. How do you even measure that? Right. You know, it's not like, 5 o'clock Wednesday, I'm just on the cusp of being too amazing, so I better stop.
You better know that come 5 o'clock on Wednesday, I'll be texting you to be like, stop being this amazing, dial it back a little bit.
Like, too late. But yeah, I mean, but it's funny. I think the, you know, conversations like this, and they're important because you get to, I'm saying things today that I've never probably even said it. I don't even know, apart from one time, I've never said on a space about like my parents passing and even Katie and things like that, because I get really like, oh God, if I tell people this now, they're going to think you're only saying that because we want you to feel sorry for me, or you're only saying that because you're being dramatic, and which is so stupid, I know, but that's like what you get when you have years and years and years of people feeling sorry for you.
Yes.
Because obviously people aren't monsters. They do. You get the head tilt and you get the, and I'm really protective of it, because I'm like, I don't want any of my success to be linked to that. Like, oh, I bought this piece of art for because, like, you know, like, sorry, I'm not making, for anyone listening, I'm not making light of the fact that anyone or
no, it's your truth. You can make light of it.
It's just the way I do.
It's your truth. You can make light of it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But do you know what I mean? It's like,
yes.
I don't, you know, when Mystic Sisterhood, I remember coming out and I said it in a space, and I texted, I messaged Bex afterwards, and I said, did I just tell everybody I'm an orphan? Like, did I black out and just tell everybody that my parents died? She was like, yes, you did. I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, this is the vibe that I'm going for. And she's like, why are you apologizing? Did you?
Like, did you kill them? Bex.
No.
God bless Bex.
I apologize. Like literally, I apologize for everything.
You
I'm
do.
sorry. I'm sorry for my trauma. But yeah, no, it was really, and this is the first time. This is why this is an exclusive episode for anyone listening. But
Right.
yeah, I wouldn't just I wouldn't just speak about it with anyone. But it's like you get into this comfort zone of speaking about spirituality and creativity, and it's just gonna come out. You're just gonna talk about it anyway, because if it's meant to happen, if you're meant to talk about it, you will. You can't just forcefully put that, you can't be in a different space or interview about something like, I don't know, books or trees and be like, oh yeah, FYI.
Hey man, if the book is about your life, you might indeed talk about it. And frankly, trees are like the best place to find all of the people.
Okay, I said the two wrong things.
I'm like, yeah, throw something at me that I can't make spiritual. Come on.
Yeah,
wrong girl. I'm aware of time, but I don't really care because this is so fascinating, and I might even chop it into two. Oh, there's a dragonfly outside. He's good. He lives there. I also wanted to chat with you about living in Ireland, growing up there. There's like so much mysticism and magic that lives where you live. And I really want to know, like, first of all, we've talked about fairies enough times. I know that you know that they're real and that there's no debate, and that all of Ireland collectively agrees fairies are real. Don't fuck around with them. It's my favorite thing. I can't wait to get there and experience fairies with you. And, obviously all the castles and the lore and the stuff. But I'm curious, it's obviously a very Catholic place, but how does that play out? Like, what does that feel like? What does it look like in your daily practice? Like all that kind of stuff, tell me all the goods.
I think when I was growing up, the Catholicism was like, it was everywhere. I went to primary school where I had nuns as teachers for the first 2 years. Terrifying.
Sounds horrible.
But, yeah, it was. Like, oh, you're writing with your left hand, devil.
Perfect.
Things like that. Just beautiful things like that.
Uber logical, super logical. How
super logical. That's what God would want us to. Yeah, for sure. And then, but there were a lot of lovely things about it, as in like, you get to go sing the hymns and stuff like that, and like joyous things. But you're a kid, you don't know what the words are about, so you're just like, yay, I'm singing, and I might get some free sweets later, I don't know. And then where I went to college, actually, my art college was an old convent, super fucking spooky.
Yeah, no wonder your shit was so dark, man.
Dark. I'll try and I might post some pictures of it. It's very, I think you might have seen it. There's like dolls and some of them move. I made like a horror film. But you have to use what's around you, right? And I wanted that good grade. So yeah, my tutors were like, I think you should delve deeper into the misery of your life. And I'm like, I'm not really sure. And they're like, deeper.
Check.
If you want misery, I've got it covered. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna ace this. So anyway, the building was super haunted, like genuinely. Like there were still confession boxes in the building. There was I'm gone on a tangent now, but I don't think you care. It's fine.
No, give me the tangent.
I'm going to tell you the ghost stories of so there was, because it was an old convent, but it was also an old Magdalene laundry. And I don't know if you've heard about those.
No.
A Magdalene laundry is basically, it's really heavy and unfortunate. It's back in I don't know specifically when it started, but I know it didn't end until I think 30 years ago or so, or more, could be wrong. Basically, if you had a child or got pregnant out of wedlock, it didn't matter what had happened to cause it, you were sent away to the nuns to have your baby, and then people would come and take the babies away, and that's where you would stay. And it was like literal laundry, like the women would work there and stuff like that. But it was ran by the nuns, and there was like tunnels under the ground, and
oh boy,
like really, there's a movie called The Magdalene Laundries. It's really, really sad, but it's a really powerful movie as well. I was going to give away what happens at the end, but yeah, it's really fucking sad. But you walk into the building, you're like, oh, you can just feel the hardships and the misery. Like there's staircases up the back that just got narrower
Oof.
So that they were built on purpose, so just only one person would fit up and down, like really weird, rigid shit. And we had the church was like the canteen, so you're just surrounded by this fucking like absolute, but it's art college, so it's fine,
Who
art
wouldn't
college.
want to be an orphan in a place like that?
I mean, it's character building.
Yo,
It's
my
character
my
building.
character is developed. I would like.
I'd like to quit the game.
Yeah.
End game. But yeah, so anyway, I mean, Catholicism in Ireland, in growing up, there was a lot of it, but it's really whittling away now. And as more things, more laws get passed and things like that. Like we had, what year was it? It was 2000 and, oh God, I can't remember. A couple of years ago, we had the vote for gay marriage. We were yes on that, which was amazing. And actually, all of the older people were the ones who voted yes on it, which was amazing, because they were so suppressed probably growing up that they're like, no, we want it to be nicer for the younger people. And we had the yes vote as well for the abortion law a couple of years ago as well, which was huge for Ireland, which was a heavily Catholic country. Yes. So I just feel like, there's ways where I'm not proud of it. Everyone in every country isn't it? You can't be possibly proud of everything your country does, because
certainly not.
No, you cannot. But if you want to, that's fine. But I'm just saying that's not me. But I'm really proud of the tiny country that it is, and how far it's come from, like, predominantly like Catholic, Catholic ways and things like that. I'm not going to piss all over everything that happened, but I think that, good things come out of it, bad things happen, but we're moving on from that now.
And how does it overlap with the sort of mysticism of the land itself, right? Because I mean, paganism comes from there, right? Like, do you want to say the thing about Halloween?
Oh,
I know you do.
I don't know if anybody knows that Halloween's actually from Ireland. Do you know that, Jana? Halloween is Samhain.
Samhain, yes, I've heard of this. Yes.
Yeah,
the pagan holiday. Yeah, it's originally from Ireland, right?
Yeah.
So
well, it's a Celtic. It's a Celtic
holiday.
Thank you. Words left me. Someone else entered my body there. I don't know.
Whoever it was, they were like, "Don't you dare fuck this up."
It's a Celtic holiday, and it's Samhain. So Halloween is Iha Samhain, and I just think it's funny because we don't actually. It's only now that we're like doing like the house decorating and all that. Like we never really did any of that. Yeah, I think it was just kind of like, this is the holiday, and like fire festivals and things like that we do. There's a lot of Druidism in Ireland. There's a lot of Druids.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm due to meet with one actually, because I'm back home again. She's a local woman, and I just want to learn about. I don't want to particularly become one, but I love learning about different things. I just want to know like what she does in her like Druid circle, and what like rituals she does, things like that. Because but Ireland is soaked in mysticism, mythology, and everywhere you go, there's a castle or a ruin, or standing stones, or a tale of a fairy fort. We have one in Cashel, I think I showed you before. We have a fairy fort here, and when you're growing up as well, you learn about all these things. So I think that it's like embedded in you, the magic and like the hope of something enchanting. And I think you learn it at such a young age, and you're so captivated by it, and it's everywhere. Literally everywhere you look. Sometimes there's just no escaping it, it just pops up. So I'm definitely influenced by that in my art and in my readings and things like that. And I think it's just so special to have it as well. It's like these tales that like are hundreds and thousands of years old, and they just keep being told,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Did it play with or against the Catholicism and the religiousness? I mean, they must go together on some level, but in my head, they shouldn't, but I'm on the outside of all of it, right? So what do I know? What do you know?
I don't know. What do I know? I don't think they go together, no. I think that the Catholicism, because they have their own stories, obviously.
Sure.
I think they're like, this story is our story, and it's a little bit fun. It's a little bit fun. And then the fairy tales are really fun, and and then maybe the religious side of things is like, that's a bit too fun now. We don't want people running away with themselves, like I think that's where maybe the divide is. It's like, no, that wouldn't happen.
Right. Too happy. We're going in a different direction. Hate yourself.
Too whimsical, but where is the sin? Because a lot of the fairy tales have so many lessons in them when you read them. Not even particularly Irish fairy tales, but fairy tales in general. I did my thesis on the narrative of fairy tales, actually.
Cool.
And just how they like transcribe into everyday life, like the hero, the villain, the narrative, and the role of the woman, things like that, and the lessons that are taken from them. I just think it's really interesting, and it's interesting to look at a story and then see in film and TV and movies where they've adapted a particular story. So that's pretty cool too. But yeah, I just think it's nice that like we believe in magic and things like that.
All my life I believed in magic. I didn't know how to articulate it. The first time that I was like that, I got that full body, this is real, and thank God somebody has finally addressed the elephant of the magic in the room, was Harry Potter. And from then I was like, nope, magic is real. You can't tell me otherwise. I'm so sorry. And then kind of went on a lifelong journey to like prove it. And
you got your letter to Hogwarts yet?
I think I'm too old now. I was too old. I know. By the time Harry Potter had that thing, like now you can get a letter from Hogwarts. Like I have a friend whose daughter has gotten a letter from Hogwarts that she was accepted. And I was like deeply jealous.
You're like, oh, that's nice.
I was like, this bitch. She's 14 now. When she was probably 7 or 8. She's been obsessed with Harry Potter all her life. When she was 7 or 8, she got her letter to Hogwarts, and I was like, I like messaged my girlfriend, and I was like, Nikki, is it possible? Never mind, it's fine. I don't need one. I'm a grown adult. It's okay. But I like need my letter to Hogwarts.
If anyone's listening, Jana would really love a letter to Hogwarts.
That's right. Feel free to write me
one.
Good luck delivering it to Mexico, though. Good luck.
Right. We're just gonna fly things over to you now. Yeah, exactly. I think the link between the two is like in fairy tales or in folklore and things like that. Like you have like the tree of life pendant, or you have like like even like the clover and the teachings and stuff that come with that. And it's just this idea of what used to happen is that you'd have like a shanos or a storyteller, and people would, obviously they didn't have Twitter or Facebook, whatever, they would just have gatherings of
suckers.
They would just have a man retweeting a story with his voice. Quote retweet, Sean. Quote retweet. But yeah, he would just, for anyone who doesn't know what a manual retweet is, it's telling a story with your voice and then listening to it and then telling somebody else that story, but you have to do it exactly how they told it. Because then if you don't do that, then that would be a quote retweet. And so they would, I think that's probably where the influence of it is, like the idea of gathering around while someone told a tale of like this magical object or the history. It's like in Newgrange in Ireland, it's in County Meath, and it's like this wonderful historic site where it has a passageway, and the sun sets and shines through this passageway on winter solstice every year. And people come from all over to see it. And it's this natural thing that just happens. And they're still trying to figure out how it happened. But all throughout that, that historic site, there are carvings, like the spiral carvings and things like that. And it's like the story that's attached to it that is like the magic is in the storytelling, I think, in itself. So I think that kind of lends itself into fairy tales, then come from that. And then for me, I'm like, I love that and I love that. And now I'm learning about, spiritualism every day. And even when I started to learn about crystals, I'm like, what's the story? Like, tell me the story behind it. What does it mean? And sometimes you come across one you don't need to know what it means, and you find out afterwards, and then it makes sense. And it's the same with mysticism and fairy tales. You don't know why it resonates. And then you're like, I like it because.
Yeah. If
So
you
I
want to
think
know what
that's
the meanings of crystals are, you can buy a Crystal Magic Punk NFT now minting.
crystal flashcards. I have crystal flashcards and I'm not allowed to play with Jana because she knows them all. Apparently. So some friends you can't play games with. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry that I'm the best at everything. I'm a sore winner and a sore loser. I'm the best kind of friend to play with.
I mean, you are. No, you're a great friend. But yeah, you should buy all the things from Jana because she knows all the things.
I know
all
some
of them.
the pressure. I definitely do not know all of the things. I'll give you a list of things I don't know, but I do know that this has been so invigorating and I am so grateful for you. I think we're very, very lucky to be able to have these kinds of conversations. And I I look forward to having you back again and again and again on this podcast because
Thank you.
I love the way that, first of all, I love the way that we laugh together, but I also love the way that we really do see eye to eye on so many things. And it's the thing about Web3 that has blown my mind the most is how many people I am so deeply aligned with, that I connect with in these ways that are really moving and powerful. And these kinds of conversations do matter, even though they just feel like the two of us chatting as friends. They matter,
They do. They matter. And thank you for holding, chats like this, whether it's podcast or spaces, because it's so important. Like, I'm like, this is my serious voice now, Jana, okay? But genuinely, I know when I get serious.
I do.
Because I like to laugh and make jokes about things. And there are a few things I take. Obviously, I take my career very seriously. I take Mystic Sisterhood very seriously in a way where I pour everything into it and I want it to be the best it can be.
Yes.
But I have fun with it, but I take it, the responsibility of it seriously. And this is another thing I take seriously, is the opportunity to speak to each other and to share your stories, because even though I'm here and I'm talking about grief and spirituality, art, fairy tales, and everything in between, it's the people listening that you're reaching out to and you don't even know it. And I don't mean that in a like, I am here and I'm about to reach out to so many people and change lives. I don't mean that. But what I mean is, like, sometimes all you have to do is listen to an interview or listen to a podcast or listen to a Twitter space. Somebody says one thing, one tiny thing, and you take that away from you. Yeah. And, then you share that with someone else. And it doesn't have to be like groundbreaking information. It could be the tiniest thing. And that's why these are so important. It's important for people to see that. Even people saying like, I have anxiety, or someone else saying like, I have depression, or I lost my parents when I was really young, things like that. And then other people say, oh my God, I did too, and I have never heard someone else speak about it. It's like, speaking your word or speaking your story is important, because it gives sometimes other people either hope to carry on and do things, or ambition to do something else, or I don't know, I just think it's important.
It creates
in so many
connection,
ways. Yeah.
I agree with you. It creates connection. It's that thing that makes us human, is like that mirror of, I see something in you that is already in me, and therefore we are all connected. What did John Lennon say? I am you and you are me, and we are here and we are all together, right?
Yes. I want to say yes. I don't know though. I'm going to say I think if he didn't say that, he should have.
If he didn't, I just did.
If he didn't, I just did. Yeah.
That's right. It's either me or John Lennon. It's whichever one you want to be.
But I just want to say that if anyone is like starting their spiritual journey or their artistic journey, I just think of the two of them as one. Not to think of it as you have to buy everything at once or buy all the crystals at once. Yep. I had 2 crystals. I had my angelite and my clear quartz or rose quartz, and now I have a room full of them. I had 1 oracle deck, an angel card deck, and now I have 5 of them. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many you have. It's just like, if you're starting out in your spiritual journey, just speak to someone about it and be like, I think I like this kind of thing. Or like, if you don't have anyone to speak, go on TikTok or Instagram or any of those things, and you'll soon find so many things. I just hope people listening, if they haven't been on their spiritual journey yet, that they kind of kickstart it with something, even something small.
Yeah. I mean, start with fairy tales, start with the things that just make your soul go, that feels good. I like that, and this is, all of that stuff that's, that we're really into. It's It's where this
Oh,
podcast gonna
I see what you did there.
Thank you
Do
so
you have
much.
a theme tune yet? No.
I don't have one. I gotta call Frenchie and get him to help
Yeah.
out.
I think, yeah. You could do it like Chicago, all that jazz, but just all that and all that stuff about, you know?
I'm about it. I like it. I like it a lot. Is that Chicago? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
movie. Good movie. You're like, oh yes, it is. I'm a theater child. Thank you so much.
Yes, I am.
I'm
I'm currently wearing tap shoes. No, I'm not.
If you were, I would immediately get you to stand up and start tapping.
Well, we've run out of time. We've run out of time. What English is that?
We
Sorry
have.
about that.
We've run out of time.
Yeah, we have.
Plum run out of time is done.
English isn't my first language. I speak Irish all of the time.
That is your lying face. That was your lying face. Well,
I
I will run us up in time if that's an even worse sentence. But this is a professional podcast, everybody. I appreciate you so much. I love you very, 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 very much. And I hope that everybody will come and join us. Yes, exactly. I hope that everybody will come and join us again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too. Thanks for listening to another episode of I'm Really Into That Stuff. Follow along with us on Instagram at I'm Really Into That Stuff, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. If this episode resonated with something that you're really into, share it with someone you love. Sending you strength, peace, love, and light until next week.